All right, it says we are live. Can we confirm that?
Please hold. Yep, we're live.
All right, so we're live. Hello. All right.
Hello, Gun Nation.
How's it going?
All right, so we're back, all three of us in the same room. Well, not technically the same room, all at once on a Wednesday night. So
Yeah.
what do you two blokes been up to?
Go ahead, Chaos.
Lots of stuff. I actually have a video coming out tomorrow night. That's a little bit unusual for me. It's a revisit of a very, very popular, highly acclaimed Hall of Fame firearm, ladies and gentlemen, the Taurus G2C. Huh?
Holy mackerel.
So it may have run into some issues. You never know. So it may have.
Oh my gosh.
It may have.
Say it ain't so.
I want everybody to be on edge for this one. So it is a revisit. I haven't done a revisit on a gun in a long time. I'm not very good about that, and I need to do that more often. Big Johnson and I were talking the other night, and I've gotten a little bit of flack in the comments. Why don't you ever come back around? Now, some firearms are gone, of course, but the ones that remain, I need to be a little bit better about coming back and sharing post-review experiences with them, whether good, bad, indifferent. So that's coming out tomorrow night, and then just all sorts of other crap going on.
So I just wanted to mention something. When we clicked on this to go live, there's a blue window that popped up saying that I guess Hangouts on Air is going away later this year. So now they're going to say for quick streaming, try youtube.com/webcam.
Okay.
So that should be interesting, because I know when we started this, there was probably a debacle every single week because we couldn't figure anything out.
Wow.
So that should be exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Trials and tribulations to look forward to.
I know. So what's going on with you, Big Johnson?
Oh, just pissing people off. I put out a video today, and it's the way I feel, but this PC shit has to quit. I've already had some snowflakes on there, so I posted their comments over on Instagram. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But, you can't make everybody happy. We know that.
Very true. That is very true. We are definitely living in some interesting times. Although I will say that I think just maybe there's getting a little bit more pressure on YouTube right now, especially with the hearings they've been having lately with, some of the things they've been doing. I don't know if you guys watch Project Veritas or not, but, they've been exposing Google and YouTube for, basically their unfair and uneven-handed practices. So I'm hoping that will change for us a little bit. And, I did post that thing about how I was demonetized, and then they didn't really give me any reasons why. They just said your content has been deemed inappropriate for advertising. So I wound up emailing them directly and saying what was inappropriate. So I went back and watched the video. There was no cursing. There was no, nudity. There was no, and even apparently you can do that on YouTube. There was nothing that would be even objectionable to anything. And they wound up emailing me back saying, we re-reviewed it and you're now monetized again. So who knows what that was about?
Yeah, I had 18 demonetized, and I got 3 back, but 15 are still demonetized. And you know how you put them in for review?
Yeah.
Now I've tried to hit review again, and it says these are non-reviewable. So right. I guess they've declined them, but there's no, like you said, there's no cussing in them. There's no reason they should.
I'm telling you, just email them directly, like YouTube team or something like that. And then just ask them for a detailed explanation as to what they found that was inappropriate. Because I don't think they actually review anything. I think they use that algorithm and it's all computerized. But who knows? Who the hell knows?
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah, but guys, it's just such a pain in the ass. You just think it shouldn't be that difficult, but whatever.
Yeah.
Times we live in.
So what other stuff would you guys want to discuss in regards to the whole gunning world? I know there's been some additional information that's been coming out on the NRA. What do you guys think about all that stuff?
Yeah, Chris Cox is gone. So, and they're asking for Wayne LaPierre's head. And, I think that should have happened a long time ago. But, he's the governor there. So, he's trying to run the show and pretty much ran it to the ground. So we'll see. A lot of people are jumping ship. I know I did a long time ago, but we'll see how it plays out for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and they canceled NRA I guess the NRA
Yep.
NRA TV.
Yep, that's gone.
You know, I'm sure because of funds.
So-
You know, they still hound me, and I get the letters, I get the calls. I've already blocked them. I mean, they wear me out.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, Hickok released that video a couple of days just before all this happened. But they don't have any insider knowledge, just so you know. Wink, wink. I just thought that was very ironic in timing, where they released the video and all of a sudden heads roll, and now all this stuff is falling apart.
I think they probably, in all reality, I bet they received a letter saying, "Hey, we can't give you any kickbacks anymore." So they were like, "We're out."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it was a very interesting video because he's been Mr. NRA champ for a while.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. The commission dries up and jump off the ship.
Right. Oh well.
And I mean, whatever. So, what else has been going on? Anything? Any new exciting guns are piquing y'all's interest?
Oh yeah, that's all I can say. So you guys saw the Steyr video, I'm sure. If not, humor me and say that you did. But the Steyr MFA2 hit my hands the other day, which actually came back in a record time of 2 weeks.
Wow.
And they've been really generous lately. It's just such a nicely well done redo of the M series. This is the L series now, but I mean, they did so many good things with this gun, and it's hard to really capture all of it in one 20-minute long video, which is way too long. But the shooting aspects will come in this weekend. But I mean, they just upgraded it, and they did the right things with it. I think they did the necessary things. Some people will complain that the trigger doesn't have that hard reset. Again, I'm not really worried about that. I mean, the trigger is just buttery smooth. It's a 4.5-pound trigger, and that's out of the box. And I don't know how much Dan shot. This is the gun that Dan from the firearm guy had. So he sent it to them. They sent it to me. So I don't know how many rounds he put through it, but I couldn't imagine that it's a lot. And the trigger's just great. And then basically, if you know the Steyr, the takedown's the same. So there's a lot of similarities with, in my opinion, some insignificant differences, but then also some very significant changes, especially ergonomically. I didn't think you could make it better, but they actually made this ergonomically better. And I think that's going to be the big selling point, because when this hits your hand, man, it is even better, just how they did the modifications on the grip texturing and just the overall shape. So they did a great job. Fantastic job with the gun.
Yeah, the thing that excited me about it was that you can actually change the grip to make it larger, or the palm swells and things like that, because that was my big knock, with mine.
Sure.
Is the grip was just so damn small, and it was smooth, which you could have stippled it, and I can always stipple it, but I couldn't add any girth to it unless I wrapped freaking duct tape around it or a damn inner tube.
Right.
And now it looks like it's substantially better.
And even the general shape of the grip is a little different. So the older one's a little bit more rounded. This one's a little bit blockier, but it doesn't feel blockier. It feels blocky and round at the same time, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on what you put on there.
Yeah.
Back strap and then the side panels. Depends what you use.
Large and large.
Yep. I see all the haters out there like Bald and Curious, saying it can't be that good since they sent it to me. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Still waiting to see Grand Power send you anything. Just saying.
Well, Grand Power sending me 2 Excaliburs, one for each hand.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Well, that's because nobody buys them, so they want to give them away.
Ball does.
That's funny.
No, I think and I think the Excalibur is a very nice gun, but it's just it's like the Steyr. It doesn't give, other than Bald, like you with the Steyr and a couple other people, but there's just not a lot of big push on the Excalibur, and I think if it got more advertisement, it would probably be more known.
And then just one last thing, and KS, we'll get you in here because I know you're anxious to talk about what you were showing us before. So if you guys have not heard of this channel, it's a channel named TN Steyr. So that's TN as in Tennessee, abbreviated, Steyr. So go and check his channel out. He's trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so he can actually do a live stream. So if you would be so kind, please go over there, subscribe to him. He's really just a really nice person in general. Had a long conversation with him yesterday. He's talking about his little event that he's having. So if you haven't seen that, check that out because it's open to everybody. So if you're near the Tennessee area, go and check it out, man. I wish I could get down there. Actually, was looking at the calendar and I can't. My son's got a lacrosse tournament, surprise, that weekend. But I would definitely recommend going there. Steyr has provided him with a lot of cool stuff. So if you're interested in doing that, please, by all means, check it out, go there and really just learn this gun, man, because you guys are not gonna be upset when you put your hands on this, if you can get there. So that applies to everybody. So TN Steyr, I will put a link in the somewhere. I don't even know how to do that, but somewhere
I'll get it.
Yeah, I have no idea how to do that. So we'll get it up there. You guys check him out and subscribe. And if you want to go to a cool thing, go to his event. This I think it's this next weekend coming up. Not this weekend, the following. So check it out. And there is the link. All right. So now we're done with that. KS, what do you have to say?
Oh, I have all sorts of things to say. Get comfortable. Working on some fun things. Aside from a revisit with the Taurus G2C, I picked up, and I may have talked to you guys a little bit last week about this. I can't remember, but the Stoeger. So I'm going to be doing some work on this. I've not shot it yet, but I've field stripped it and cleaned it, and I noticed that it literally is a Glock on the inside. So I'm actually excited to really take this thing all the way down, get all the parts out, and see if I could maybe throw a Glock trigger and connector and some of those kind of things in here just to play around with it and just kind of see, because it really isn't a bad gun. It's odd. It's a full-size gun, basically. But a 15-round magazine. I mean, it's an interesting firearm. $300 or a little bit less than that. So that'll be kind of fun to play around with. But I did pick up something that's kind of a landmark for the channel a little bit. So I'm excited about this, and I have mixed feelings about it as well. Partially because I have essentially no experience or very little experience with these. I actually did pick up a wheel gun, a real live wheel gun. So I'm excited to do some work with this. It's going to be basically starting over from scratch because I really don't have any knowledge or grip reference or anything like that at all to work on with this. So this is going to be an interesting study, and it's going to be a while probably before I'm ready to release anything, because I know nothing. I don't know the names of the parts other than this is a gun. Video
it's
done.
A cylinder and a trigger and a grip and a hammer.
I know. I thank you for the lesson. I do know some of that, but just it's just funny. I have so little experience, and I really don't watch videos on wheel guns, generally speaking, unless they're a friend or anything like that. So just very very different. And Kathleen's asking if it takes Glock mags. Actually, I was able to shove one in here. So
yeah, put one in the bottom.
Yeah,
15,
I was
15
gonna
rounds.
say, can you attach one to the bottom as you?
Yeah, just hold it up.
Right, just
ever seen
it
that?
on.
Ever seen that meme where the guy's holding the Glock mag hanging out of it?
Look at this. And you guys know I always get a couple of thumbs down on my videos pretty much right away. Nicholas has just said thumbs down already. You're getting way ahead of us here. Give it time. You'll be able to get that thumbs down very soon on that. So
it's all of our moms.
Right. But it'll be interesting. So I don't know. Lots of weird things. We're exploring. All of us are exploring different territory right now, because we've all started to get tired of polymer guns. We've all started to get tired of the same old thing. And so, like, I got out some guns. I mean, I've got the Stoeger and the Taurus here, because the Taurus, I was actually working on that video earlier. But I've got the Langdon Tactical Beretta and the Dan Watson Guardian and a revolver. And it's like, man, a year ago, if you had mentioned these guns, I would have been like, no, give me a Glock 19 or something. I'm fine with that. But no, this is so much more exciting,
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you guys know I got the M9A3, man. It's right here in the flesh. And, I said the same thing. I was going to move away from polymer. Of course, Dennis gave me a hard time saying, I thought you were moving away from polymer. But, I mean, are we ever really moving away from anything? I wound up picking that up. I got the PCR back in stock. I just, again, it's just kind of changing things again. I've actually decided on never owning, and I shouldn't say never, but never owning a polymer CZ, because I just think they're meant to be in some form of metal. But that's just me, and that could change.
I like this one. This one does really well for me.
Oh, that's metal, right?
No, this is this PO9 with the comp.
Oh, I thought that was made out of steel or something.
No. Well, the front of it is, but yeah, I mean, we talked about that a long time ago. It's just sometimes you get bored of guns and you want something different, or you want to go to a different part of your collection and maybe start shooting those and trying those and trying something different. And I was going to pick up 2 of them today. They got a little delayed, but I'm picking them up in the morning. So I've got some exciting stuff coming up too. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Exciting times.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to mix it up. Keep it fresh.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, after a while, you're just like, God, it's the same old thing over and over again. A couple of videos ago, I don't remember which one it was. It might have been the If I Could Only Have One with the 2 4-inch polymers. I was kind of like, I felt like I was going through the motions and just kind of, here's this and this wins and yay. Okay, bye. And it just, man, it didn't feel good, need to re-energize. I mean, like doing the SIG and PX and the AR9 and some of those have been so much fun because they're radically different for the channel. And I want to continue to do things like that too. I want to get a big boy AR at some point in time. So I don't know.
Yeah, I've been looking at an AR pistol. Because now there's all I'd have to do is pin the magazine. So I'm gonna look into that. So maybe this summer that'll be something I look into.
They're a lot of fun. What was funny is I was messing with some guns this weekend that I haven't shot in a long time, and I pulled out the AR9, the PCC. I pulled out the AR9 pistol and stuff, and I was kind of playing around with them and looking at the comps and stuff on the front, and I was like, holy crap. And I didn't realize inside the the bird cages and stuff how much carbon was actually plugged up in there. So I was taking the comps and just banging them, or the bird cages, just banging them. I mean, wads of crap was coming out, and it was literally like steel carbon. I mean, it was chunks, and I was trying to break it up, and I was like, man, this stuff's not breaking up. But I got it all out. But it's just amazing how long that that stuff's just been building up in there. So, but, and I don't think if it would have fell out, it just would have gone out or fell out. But I was just like, man. And I've even had that in some of my guns. My pistols, the comps just get shit just piled up in them.
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't seen that shirt in a while. 17.
Yeah, I found it. I just found it. I found it in a trash can. So I figured, let me wear it.
There
You bought it off of eBay.
This was our this was the that desire to make some money by selling shirts, and I was the only one who bought them.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say I bought some of mine, and actually I think a couple of people bought them, but still, I remember Inside Freedom bought one. He might have bought all of ours. I don't remember, but yeah, that was. I still have mine. I think I've worn a couple of them at matches just to have them, but yeah, they're pretty worn out.
Yeah.
But as far as any shotguns, I know that we haven't talked about shotguns in a long time. And I mean, I like shotguns, but anything exciting or does shotguns excite you?
That's
do you
That's a
like
loaded question?
Yeah,
well, yeah, loaded, no pun intended. But do you like to shoot shotguns?
I mean, I don't know. Does anybody like to shoot shotguns?
Well, I actually do. And I mean, I just didn't know because we talk about them. We've talked about them a few times, but I mean, have you shot a shotgun in a long time?
It's been a while since I've shot a shotgun. I was actually looking at them the other day because I always wanted to get like a Mariner type shotgun with the stainless and all that. Yeah. But I was like, it was a little too pricey. And then I saw a semi-automatic Mossberg. I think it was like a 930 or something like that.
Yeah.
That thing was nice. It was really nice. And they wanted, I think, 6 and change. So I was like, nah.
Yeah.
But I would like to get something like that. My ultimate one is what Dennis just mentioned, the Benelli M4. Love to own that. However, I don't think they're legal in New York State.
Really?
Crazy. Yes. I don't know. Baldy can help me with that, but I'm pretty sure they're not legal to own unless you're in law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, I love the 930. That's actually one of my favorite shotguns, and I've got the +9 tubes. I got 2 930s with the +9 tube Nordics on it, and they run great. I mean, I like the Mossberg because of the thumb safety on the 870, and I have an 870, but the damn little safety down there, I mean, it's just hard as hell for me to hit, you know, so I like the top safeties on the Mossbergs better, personally.
I'm a lefty shooter, so it works better when it's up top.
Yeah.
I'm a Benelli fan. He used to compete with the Benelli Super Shot, and I think we've got a Montefeltro and one other one. I can't remember what it is. They're great shotguns. I mean, if somebody said, "Hey, let's go do some sporting clays or trap," I'd be all over it. I'm not into skeet. Skeet does absolutely nothing for me, but trap and sporting clays are a lot of fun. I haven't done that in years. I just most of the circles that I guess I congregate with are not really into shotguns quite so much. It's just not a thing. Handguns and ARs and all that kind of stuff. That's a little bit more prevalent. So I don't know. It's really not a thing for me quite so much.
Yeah. I mean, I shot skeet when I was a kid, not competitively, just, my dad and I would go out and shoot on Luna Road. They had a big range out there and did that. And then I've shot some trap. The matter of fact, about a year and a half ago, with work, we actually went and shot trap, and I hadn't shot it in forever. You know how it flies right across? Well, it went flying right across, and they said left and right and all this stuff, and it flew. It hit a tree, and the damn thing came right back at me. It didn't even break when it hit the tree. And I was like, holy crap. So that woke me up, definitely. I was paying attention after that.
Sure of that.
Yeah. But, man, those things are zingers when they come flying out in that trap, especially the low ones.
So real quickly, I thought this was actually an interesting question. Texas teacher is saying, if you could only have one Glock, what would you recommend? Now, he was mentioning the 19X or just the 19. But I'd be curious to know the application. But what do you guys think of that? If you could only have one Glock, which one would it be?
19X, 100% for me.
I would agree with that. 19X.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a reason for me. I don't know if anybody wants to know, but that little extra tab that hangs down, that thing actually works for me. I really use it. It gives me a lot more leverage.
What about you there, KS?
Sorry, guns, guitars, and gambling is saying KS's revolvers and 380 ACP. It's actually 25. So I wanted to start very small and work my way up on that one. But I like the 19X a lot. It's a great gun, but I would actually go 19. I am a firm believer that the 19 is a do-all gun. It's a very carryable gun. It's a home defense gun. You could compete in certain competitions with it, at least. It's sort of a do-all. And you can get bigger magazines for it. You can get the little X sleeves if you want that 19X or 45 or 17 or 34 type of feel, what have you. But I would just say 19. I mean, again, it's kind of a do-all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you go wrong with either one. I mean, for me, I've gotten, this is the last Glock double stack I own. It's the only one I own right now. I got rid of the 19, but I just think the 19X works for a lot of different hand sizes. I think it, like Big J said, it's a very controllable gun thanks to that little lip at the bottom. The 45, obviously, you can get if you want it without that. But I think that for me, just the balance of this gun is probably just the reason why I stuck with this instead of the 19. And honestly, you can always get a 19, no matter what, no matter where you are, no matter what state. In some cases, no matter what country, you can always find a Glock 19 somewhere. And worst case scenario is if you have to, get out of Dodge and, there's an end of the world scenario and we're all operators now. You can always find a Glock 19 lower and drop this 19X slide on it and you're good to go. So I definitely think the 19X is the way to go. But that's what
I was going to say. As far as, I always joke around about Glock and I give them a hard time, but I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. But I really think, and this is an honest opinion, I think that everyone that's a gun guy should at least own one Glock, because just like what you said, if something went awry, I mean, you're going to be able to find Glock mags, you're going to be able to find Glock parts. I mean, that's they're just going to be prevalent everywhere. You might not find CZ, certain mags, or whatever else you might need. So.
Right.
I think that's a very good reason to have one.
It's funny when people say, and everybody says this. So I mean, it's not just you, Big Johnson, or whomever, but everybody's like, if you have a Glock, you know that the parts are going to be prevalent. You're going to be able to find the magazines and everything. And I always picture when people say that if it's a end of the world type of scenario, and you've got your go bag and your Glock and everything, and you get a block down the street, and it's almost like in a video game, you get a little award and you get a little baggie full of Glock
Yeah,
parts.
bing.
It doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
but the fact is they are everywhere, and the parts, for the most part, not every model, but a lot of models, the parts are interchangeable, and that is
Yeah.
actually pretty cool. Now, it's funny, Keith Gregory made a comment on here, and I thought it was an interesting comment, and I'd like to know your thoughts on this. And I don't know that he said that with like, hey, this is what I truly believe, but it's a statement nonetheless, saying Glock 19, best gun ever made, you could argue. What do you think of that?
Best gun ever made. Geez, best gun ever made. Maybe, I don't know. That's a great question.
I would say they run. Yes, they run good. I mean, there's not a problem with them. But also, if you really took, and I think if we kind of flip this around, you took the military out of it and the law enforcement, the pricing that they buy them in bulk, because I mean, they get the guns for shit, $250, or some of them a little more, but they buy so many of them. If you took those two aspects out of it, I think more people would have other types of guns. But yes, I think Glock probably would win that.
I mean, I think if you change the question to say maybe one of the most, I don't know, maybe the most battle tested gun. I don't know. Could you say that? I mean, could SIG have that? I don't know. I don't think the Glocks are the best guns ever made. I think they are the most used guns ever made because so many agencies, so many military, like you said, that use them. But the best, I don't think there is a best. I really don't. I think you're going to have your favorites. I mean, like, for example, I love Steyr. Love them. I'm not going to change that anytime soon. Love CZ pistols. But to say they're the best, I think that's very hard to say because I don't really think there is a best.
I would say they're probably, because of all the qualifications or all the things that we said, I think they're probably the most well known. Mm-hmm. Sure. I would probably throw that out there. And I've heard, hell, even Guns and Gear, there's many people that have said this, Glock are not the correct angled guns. I mean, they're just not, but people adapt to them. And that's kind of like if you've shot, and I've tried this with guys that I know personally who have just shot Glocks forever and then handed them a non-Glock angled gun, and they're kind of all over the place until they shoot it for a while and maybe get used to it. So, I mean, are they for everybody? No. But could people adapt to them if that's all they had? Yeah, I bet they could. Mm-hmm. But the good thing is we have choices.
Right.
I would say, are they the best? And I would align with 17 a little bit on this, in that I don't think there is a best, but I think would it be a gun that people would go to in a variety of different situations? Absolutely. And I think non-Glock people probably would too. And I think it does fall back to the prevalence. If you're in a place, I mean, we've talked about this at Centerfire Shooting Sports. Basically, everybody there carries a Glock 19. And part of the reason is, if something were to happen and if they, needed a reload or whatever, and they were out, next guy right next to him has another magazine. They could just toss them. They're good to go. They're ready to go. And there is something to that. Now that's obviously a very small example and a very unlikely example, but still an interesting one nonetheless. But the one thing, and you mentioned grip angle a little bit, Big Johnson. A lot of people, I think, forget this a little bit about Glocks. The grip angle is a little extreme, as with Steyrs as well. But there's a reason they do that. They get that fulcrum. They get that your arm, the support of your arm up a little bit more onto the gun, so it makes that recoil less, the control a little bit more. When you get to something like a 1911 or even a Smith & Wesson or something like that, where it's more straight down, a little bit more traditional, great guns, no doubt about it, but you might notice that there could potentially be a little bit more flip, and the muzzle might not be as flat, and that is because of that design. And so a lot of people give that design trouble, and it is certainly not the most ergonomic, no doubt about it. But there is probably a reason why a lot of people, when they start shooting Glocks and spending time with them, they say, "Wow, I actually shoot a Glock pretty well. I don't like it very much, but I shoot it pretty well." Yeah. There's something to that.
Yeah.
Now, T.N. Steyer brought up a good point. He's saying, how about the best unmodified pistol? Because, I mean, you would have to admit that most people will not keep a Glock stock for very long. So what would you guys consider the best unmodified pistol out of the box, bar none? What's the best one out there?
1911.
That's an interesting choice.
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking double action, single action, or single action only, or, striker first, there's a lot of variables there. If we had to pick like the best single action gun, the best double action, single action, and then the best striker, the best striker fire, I would pick a 1911. Double action, single action, I would go Shadow 2. And then for striker, because out of the box, I think they're great, I would say P10C or P10F. Personally, for me, just my opinions.
Interesting.
What do you think, Chaos?
Well, it's funny. Harry was saying FN 509 tactical. I mean, that's a great gun, no doubt about it. But I would actually probably, if you took out the mods and everything else, and I would be the first to admit Glocks have a lot of room for improvement, no doubt about it. That's why I have fun modding all of mine.
Yeah.
But I might actually go with like an M&P compact or even a 3.6. Those. Even though I don't like the trigger that much out of the box, it's still a pretty decent trigger, and I think it breaks cleaner than a lot of Glocks. Now, some Gen 5s are actually pretty good, at least for Glock. They're not great, but they're good. But the M&P really surprised me. Now, I don't like the full-size models as much. I like the smaller ones. That 3.6 is phenomenal. It's a great gun. And it's a little heavier than Glock 19. There's a little more steel in it, but they're good guns. I like them.
So what about your single action and your double action choice? Double action, single action, I mean.
Do I get one of each or just one?
Yes. No, we're picking. I just made it all three.
I just give me a Colt 1911. I'm totally happy with that. 45 ACP is perfectly fine. 9mm is also perfectly fine. I had an interesting back and forth with a gentleman about 9mm being sacrilegious to 1911s.
Yeah.
Not the first time we've heard that argument, but
I've had them too.
But he was a very nice guy. I mean, it was a good conversation, not an argument. So that was appreciated. But double action, single action. I mean, if I was thinking practicality, I'd go CZP-01. I mean, because again, you've got that carry ability and all that kind of thing. But if it was just one, I mean, I'd go Shadow 2. To me, that is a pinnacle of good quality, fun shooting, whatever firearm. I think it's an amazing gun.
Okay.
What are the choices now? What am I doing?
Your best single action, double action, single action, and striker fire out of the box. No mods.
Well, oh boy. Best single action. Well, I mean, I've shot the Shadow too, but that's double single.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a couple of 1911s. Not a real fan of 1911s, but they're manageable. I would probably pick that maybe, I guess, for a single action. Double single, I go PO1 all day long. It's a beast of a gun, and it shoots every time. And then for striker fire, that's where it gets a little interesting. I'm not going to say this because I just reviewed it, but I do really love the Steyr handgun. I still think it's leaps and bounds quality and ergonomics and trigger are just really good out of the box. I mean, there's nothing to really modify with this gun. And then a close second for me is actually this guy, the APX Centurion. I think this gun is fantastic out of the box, no modifications whatsoever, just a solid handgun. So
okay. Yeah, they definitely are. It's Harry, and I always forget about these, but Harry mentioned the Legion series 6 hour, and those are phenomenal firearms as well. I'm a big fan of the P229, and they are great. The double action pull on the Legions or on really any of the SIGs, though, it's not my favorite. by any stretch, but they are tremendous firearms nonetheless.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they are nice pistols. But the only thing is, and that's, I just kind of think about it myself, when I buy a gun and commit to it, I load up on mags, and, the Legion mags aren't the least expensive things in the world. And I don't just buy 3. So,
yeah, that's true.
They're hard to find deals on Sig mags. I mean, for those guns.
Ferrets with Guns said, no one said Archon Type B. You know how I feel about the Archon, but if I was thinking 1 and 1 alone, that'd be tough for that one to be the one. It's just not there yet.
Interesting.
But it is a tremendous fight. That is a Hall of Famer as far as I'm concerned.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested to shoot yours whenever I come down. I think.
Yeah, man.
Because I think it's going to be cool to shoot it.
You can double fist him.
Yeah, exactly. You got 2. Yeah. Now, and that brings up another point. And I've said this many times. How do you feel about? And obviously, I know what 17 is going to say, but are there guns that you like them so much you would buy multiples of the exact same gun, or at least duplicates?
I'm so guilty of that. It's not even funny.
No, I am. I am too. If people follow us, they on Instagram and stuff, or even YouTube, they know. But like, what are your guns you have double of?
P0. I have 2 P01s and now a PCR. My last one I'm going to try to at some point get is the P01 and OD green, and then that's it. I'll have 3 P01s and 1 kind of pseudo. But I love those guns. I just absolutely love them. Okay. So that's what I have multiples of right now.
What about you, KS?
I'm not going to tell you how many Glock 19s I have. Now I'm counting the polymer 80s, but even like the span of my gun admiration or career or whatever you want to say, I've had more Glock 19s than some stores have had. Yeah. A lot. So, and I think just stock, I guess stock ones, I think I have 3. I've got a Gen 4, I've got a Gen 5 MOS, and then the 19X. I don't have a lot. The Archons, I've got duplicates of the Archons, but I really try not to have duplicates of something. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. And eventually one of those, the Black Archon will probably go at some point in time. Doesn't make sense to have both of them, but I enjoy those guns so much. And they're hard to find and kind of expensive and a little bit bizarre, kind of like me. So I like them, but I try not to do that if at all possible. But Glock 19s, there's an exception. Now there's a reason for that. The polymer 80s and that sort of thing. They're all like their own individual little guns. They're all very different.
And see, I'm on a different mindset, and Harry and I have talked about this, and, Humble Marksman and I think that you should have duplicates of the guns that you really enjoy. Like I have 2 P07s, 2 P09s, 2 Shadow 2s, 2 P10s, because I love those guns. And if one ever went down, I've got a backup, and even at competition, if I was shooting Shadow 2 and one went down, I'd have another one, and the holster compatibility and things like that, and the mag compatibility. So I think guns that that you love, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Actually, I think it's pretty smart. Personally.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've heard, you're not the only one I've heard about the Glock 19s. I know people that have 10 of them.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think I've ever owned multiple 19s. I've had all of them, but just never multiple Glocks, in the same one. I've had like 19X, 1926, 17, but I've never owned the same like couple of 19s. Maybe I had 2 19s once, but
I thought you did. I think
I had the Bazooka green and then the USA one.
The Vickers and the American flag.
That's right. I had the Vickers too.
Yep.
Shit.
Yep. Yeah. See, we know your collection better than you do.
I know. Well, you lose count. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you kind of do a little bit. I'd forgotten about the Vickers. That was a phenomenal Glock. I'm kind of mad I don't have that one anymore. That RTF grip and that sight setup was just awesome. That was a really good gun.
You know what I've noticed? What I've had to come to terms with lately with guns, and this is difficult. So I know people always give us shit about, oh well, you just buy them to sell them or whatever. I don't really sell a lot of my guns. I don't. what I wind up doing is when I want to get something new, unfortunately, I'm not independently wealthy, so I have to make a decision. And I'm finding that that decision it's always been very hard for me to let go of one of the guns that I own, because I really enjoy them. I like them. They become a part of my little gun family, so to speak. But I'm realizing recently that, sometimes in order to, get something that maybe you can't necessarily afford, or you want to have that experience to own and see what it's like, you do have to part ways with certain things. The M9A3, I was never going to afford that gun just coming up with almost $1,000 to buy it. So I had to sell some stuff. I sold the MOS Gen 5 and the P10. And that was enough. I had to put obviously a little more cash out of my pocket, but at the same time, I felt kind of guilty getting rid of those guns because I really liked shooting them. And they were really nice performing handguns. But now that I got the M9A3, man, it was totally worth it, because this gun is in a league of its own compared to those two. And the way I justified it was that you'll always find a Glock 19, and you can find the P10s now going for, like mid 300s on Gunbroker. So it was totally worth it. So.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I mean, there's collector guns, or hard to find guns that I won't ever get rid of. And, because you can't just go pick those up anywhere. So you're exactly right about that.
Yeah. And even with the PO1s that I have, and even the PCR, they're becoming more a collector gun for me than really a more, carry everyday type of handgun. And believe me, I'll carry them, but nowhere near as much as, let's say, a polymer gun. But to me, they're just guns that I definitely will not touch. They're just untouchable at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're fantastic guns. And they are hard to come by. I've actually been looking for another PO1, just a plain Jane non-Omega, because I really want to trick it out and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's a long-term goal. It's not something that's necessary now, but I looked around just for fun, and man, nothing, zero, zilch.
Yeah. And yes, Dennis, this is a threaded barrel. I think he asked me that. Who asked me that? Oh, Pistol Pete did. It is a thread barrel, but this does not come off. It had to be changed for New York State. So it looks like a usable threaded barrel, but it's not.
It was melted on permanently.
Yes, it was used with molten lava.
You smelted. Yeah.
So TN is asking, which gun or guns do you regret selling? I will tell you, for me, one does come to mind that I'm really mad about because it was expensive and they're hard to come by, and that's the Colt, and I think it's like I don't know if it's a CQB Colt 45. It was the all desert tan one with the really good G10 grips. I forget the model name at this point, but it was for the Marine Corps, and it was the original release of it with the Otis cleaning kit and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was a beautiful firearm. And for whatever reason, after a while and after shooting it, it was great and everything, but I kind of wanted something else, and that made it much easier for me to get something else. Although I kind of lost my shorts on it a little bit, but I regret not having that one anymore. That was just an awesome gun.
My biggest regret of selling isn't even a handgun. It's actually a rifle. I wound up selling my Marlin 336 30-30 in stainless steel. And that gun was, just a gorgeous lever action gun. I know you could say whatever you want about Marlin, but that gun was fantastic. It was phenomenal gun. Wound up selling it to buy some other things. And I look back at it, and the thing was just beautiful. And now, you're seeing some manufacturers coming out with ways to modify your lever actions, where you can put like an M-LOK rail on the front of it and all this other stuff. But at the same time, that gun was just so nice. Had some dark walnut wood with the stainless. Beautiful gun.
Yeah, and what's funny is we have a lot in common. Mine was a Marlin 30-30, but it was the old Marlin, and it was, and Harry knows the damn number. I forget it. It was it's like a 30-30, and then it had a 6 in the serial number, and it was one of the old ones, but it was a special coating, and it was a collector one. And my dumbass sold it to my uncle, and he still has it, and I've tried to buy it back, and he won't sell it to me.
Just go in and steal it.
Yeah, well, I could do that, but
beat him over the head with a shoe.
Well, he enjoys it, but he did do this when he gives it up, I get it back.
Nice.
So
Yeah, man. The Marlin, I like lever actions. I'm a big fan of lever action rifles.
I like them too, you know. And what's funny is since I got rid of that one, I haven't bought another one. I've thought about it many times. I
Yep.
mean, it was a fun freaking rifle. And you're right about all the stuff you can put on them now. Good Lord, you can make them like a Walking Dead gun.
I was watching. I went to the gun shop the other day, and they had a couple of Marlins, and one was a 45-70, and the other one was I want to say it was a 38 and a 44 mag, maybe
45 long Colt.
And they were short barrels, the big loop.
The mules.
It was nice. It was you could like fit in a backpack, man. It was so friggin' nice. They wanted like $1,700 for that.
Yeah, I think they're called the mules or something. They're pretty cool. They got the big lever. You can put your whole fist in the damn thing. Yeah, those are pretty cool.
I probably wind up getting another one because I do like them that much in order to, just have something like that. And then they're not, when people think of rifles, they right away ARs, or AKs or SKSs or whatever. And I've always said the lever action, in my opinion, still has a very viable use to it. Maybe not necessarily the most practical, but at the same time, it's got enough, depending on the round you're using, it's got enough punch. And I still think it's an effective gun.
And you can put it on your hip and pretend you're the rifleman too.
That's right.
Well,
don't even aim, damn it.
Yeah.
They make lever guns in just about every caliber too. And that's one of the cool things. I mean, you can get, 44 mag or you can get a lot of heavy hitting rounds in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the coolest one, and it was not my rifle, but I shot it, and it was a Winchester. I think it was a Winchester. Yeah, it was a Winchester, and it's actually made in China, and it shoots 357 or of course 38. And I shot it. It was Dustin's, and that thing was probably the most accurate and the nicest shooting rifle I think I've shot in a long time. And I mean, it was just like ting, 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 ting. And I mean, it's just like shooting a 22. And I was like, oh my God, I want this thing. And it actually said made in Japan on it. And it was a collector one. He sought it out and got it. And man, I was like, damn, I want that rifle. And I haven't even, he said they're really expensive because they're hard to find, but I haven't sought out after one since. But it's a nice shooting rifle, and they're accurate as hell with the iron sights too.
Yeah.
The 30-30 I had was pretty damn accurate too.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of velocity because round nose, but I mean it's got enough punch. I mean, I watched something once and they were comparing it to a 7.62 by 39 round, and I mean that you guys know how that punches, but I always look, there's just something classic about a lever action, but also something very usable about it. It's not like it's a single action revolver where you have to, go, wow, and, go pow, pow, pow and shit like that. It's just such a good gun. People still hunt with it. People still use it. They carry it in their trucks. I have no problem owning one of those.
That's funny that you mentioned that. We're talking about rifles. I still have a rifle that I bought, and I haven't even shot it yet. I haven't even put one round through it.
Oh, you can send it to me if you want.
No, it's the one you want.
Oh, you bastard. Send that to me.
Yeah. Dude, I haven't even shot that thing. I bought it and haven't even shot it.
Yeah, it happens. Trust me.
I know, but I'm just like, I need to go shoot the dang thing.
Listen, if you ever want to sell it, you can always sell it.
I know. You're the first on the list. I know. But
Harry is saying he wants a 44 mag 1984 suppressed.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. He's been telling me that for a while. I think that'd be a badass rifle. And, they make, the mods for that, the rails and all that stuff. And it's really cool when you see kind of a old cowboy gun, but it's got that front end on it. It just looks freaking, it's like old school tactical. It just looks cool as hell.
Yep. I agree. But then, if you do a video, then you'd be like a douchebag because it's like, oh, you're trying to be tactical with the lever action. Well, why not?
Trust me, you got people jumping over your fence. It wouldn't be a problem taking them down with it.
Nope.
That's exactly right. Fina's got a question. How many different calibers do you shoot? I have six or seven different calibers. So what do you guys think?
Is that overall every gun or just pistols or,
whatever?
I've got several. I don't have too many. I don't overdo it because I don't want to tell you all of them.
I know some of them,
but some of them I don't want to say.
Okay, then say what you want to say.
Let's see, 5.56, 9mm. There's another one, and another one after that, and that's where I'll stop.
Okay. Okay. Well, that gives us a lot
Some
of
things are
information.
better left unsaid.
Yeah. What about you, KS?
And so those were BB guns, weren't they?
Yeah, airsoft.
Airsoft.
Right. Nerf guns. They're just highly modified.
Yeah.
I stick largely to 9mm. I like it quite a bit, but 40, 45, 380, 5.56, 10mm. Getting into, in fact, this weekend, 10mm video comes out. I'm enjoying that round a lot more now. It's a little snappy. It's not a fast round like. I can't do a lot of rapid fire with 10mm, and that might be time behind the trigger, but that also just might be me. That's all I can think of. I mean, I've got some 22s, but I spend almost zero time with them. So yeah, I gravitate so heavily with 9mm just because it's inexpensive, it's easy to shoot. You can spend a fairly long time at the range and have a good time most of the time, and that just it's pleasing, and it's also good enough for home defense and self-defense and all of those things. Kind of a do-all. It's probably not the best at any one thing, but it does everything reasonably well. Yeah,
I have 22. I have 9mm. I have some 40. I have 223, 5.56, 308, 12 gauge. Oh, yeah, well, I have 7.62 by 39, and I think that might be it. Oh, I have 8mm, 243, 7mm, but majority of it is not the 7mm or 243. But yeah, I used to have more than that, but I've digressed on some of my calibers.
Yeah, I used to have a lot of differences, and I was like, this is stupid. I would rather just have more of the same, and then use the funds to just add more, as opposed to having to do this one rifle, then this pistol, and then that other rifle there. It just got to be too much. So I mean, if I what would your ideal, let's say ideal rifle and ideal pistol calibers? I mean, obviously, KS, I know 9mm for you in the pistols, but if you had to pick, maybe 3 calibers, what would they be?
Ooh, 3 calibers. 5.56, 9mm, and probably 22. Ironically, even though I don't really shoot 22 very much, if I was thinking like calibers for specific purposes and a wide array of purposes, I think those are 3 really good calibers. I notice I didn't include a shotgun or anything like that, but I think those for hunting, for self-defense, things like that's kind of what I would gravitate towards.
Yeah, I would go, and I'm going to have to add a 4th. I just have to, but I would pick 22, 5.56 over 223, and I would pick 308, and I would, of course, 9mm. Because, 5.56 will take down a lot of what you want, but if you've got to take down big game, I would go 308. I would want at least, I don't want to shoot it and it possibly run off. Pigs, that's not a big deal, but I'm talking big game.
Yeah, I would definitely hit the 9mm quite a bit. Probably the 30-30 just because of its capabilities. I mean, yeah, maybe not distance, but definitely it packs enough punch. The 7.62 round, because that's the caliber of choice over a 5.56 for me. And then probably a 10mm.
Ooh, interesting.
Okay, because I would want the 22 for like small game and stuff like that.
Well, that's what I'm using the 10mm for.
Yeah. Yeah. Just explode a squirrel or
I'm gonna blow that squirrel up.
Yeah, he can eat his foot.
Yeah,
if you can find it. But yeah, that's and I mean, shotgun just fits in there. There's so many places to fit a shotgun, though.
Right.
If you're gonna hunt birds or whatever, if you have to live on the land.
That's right.
It's true.
Like a frontiersman.
Yep.
Or frontiersman.
Yeah. Because 30-30s and shotguns did it back in the day, man. Of course, the 45 Colt did too. But
and then 50 AE. I mean, you can't forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. case you need to take down some big shit.
Squirrels.
Yeah, squirrel. But yeah, have we gotten all the questions? I don't even know what time it is.
I don't know. It's 5 minutes too. Holy cow!
Damn.
Jesus.
I was gonna say it seemed like it was cruising along.
Yeah. All right. So we have 5 minutes. Are there any questions right now? If not, let's we can start rolling out our outros or whatever you call those.
Well, there is one more question. I think we could answer this pretty quickly, and this is from SRBF 94 Ellis, and it says, "Do any of you guys hand load?"
No, not yet.
No, I don't have the time.
And I would say no. I really don't have an interest, to be honest with you. It's just it would be a whole nother hobby, and I don't have the interest or the time at this point. I can't try and take on another thing.
And I'm like stupid in math, so I know I'd blow something up. I just totally know it.
I really want to, because if something happened, we would know how to load ammo. But I really want to, and I've kind of dabbled in it, but not my own machinery. But I definitely would like to do it. But yeah, you're right. With the time and my travel, it's
and the upfront expense, and especially if like for me, I'm primarily 9mm. I don't think the upfront expense justifies hand loading, especially if I buy in bulk and I'm getting $10 a box or less. It just, to me, it's not practical.
And as Inside Freedom says perfectly, a huge rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And that it's just I would drive myself insane trying to figure out I always watch Pop's video and Bald and Curious and all those guys who do the hand loads, and I'm like, I don't have the time to figure this out. I go crazy trying to figure out all the different things you need to do. Just put some powder in the thing and shoot it and see what happens.
See what happens. Yeah.
So Aaron is saying, curious why anyone would choose 223 or 5.56 instead of wild. I have an answer for that, because I'm a noob.
Yeah.
I know nothing. I don't even know what a wild is. So,
well, I mean, I have a couple of ARs that are 223, 5.56 wild barrels, and they'll shoot either. So, I mean, I look at it this way: if stuff went bad, I definitely want to have NATO rounds, which are, pretty easily findable.
So when you shoot 5.56 wild, does that mean when it comes out of the barrel, it's like all sorts of crazy and everything? It just goes wild.
No, the wild is
it's
camp. It's the camp, and I'm probably not using the right term, but it's the camphor of the chamber, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, wild barrels will shoot 223 or 5.56, so you don't have to have wild ammo to shoot it.
And again, I don't think whatever. I don't have anything else to say. It's just that's it. All right. So, what do you guys have in the future for everybody?
Picking up some goodies tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited about those. Got some more red dot stuff coming, and that's what I have going on. So those will be trickling out. Excited to get them, and we'll have some stuff.
Nice.
What about you there, KS?
Well, like I said, top quality, fine Taurus G2C revisit. Look at this thing right there. I got to put that back in the double safe when I'm done.
Yes.
So that'll come out tomorrow night. And then one of the two Rock Island 10mm will come out this weekend. I decided to split them apart. Plus, they're starting to ask for them back. So I really want to get those done. But a lot of fun nonetheless. And then after that, I jump into Beretta territory. So I'm excited for that as well.
Cool.
Very cool. So I plan on milking the Steyr for all it's worth. Obviously this is not my gun. It has to go back. So it has to go back quickly. So I'm going to shoot it and then say goodbye to it with maybe a tear. And then, I'm going to start taking a look at this bad boy, the M9A3, and then maybe doing kind of a revisit on the CZ P01s and PCR. Also, I got to do some Maggot stuff. I'm wearing their hat tonight, but I had a slight issue with this spring they sent, so they're actually sending me a new one so they can take a look at this one, because this one definitely had some issues with it. But they replaced the first one, and so far I've been carrying the shield with 10 rounds, so very happy with that.
Cool.
So they did a nice job with it. So and then some like site videos or something. But that's it. But as always, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. It's been fun. Every Wednesday night. So next week it'll be somebody else's chat.
It'll be mine.
So it's Big Johnson's next week. Again, we appreciate all of you for coming out. Thanks for your support, and keep watching the videos that we're making, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
See you
Bye.
guys.